Kyle Krabs over at the 33rd team did not have him in the top 100. So that makes me feel a little bit better about where we got him. But like Jake's saying here, man, that dude, he dominated.
Right.
He absolutely dominated. So, and Jake makes a good point. How many people watch Toledo all year? Right. But so none of this information matters then. None of it. Right. I mean, when you look at it through that lens,
Yep.
it's, and I would like to go see Toledo. We know PFF watched Toledo, right? So let's go to PFF and see what they thought of him. Let me get that pulled up. Hit that super chat for me if you don't care.
Yeah,
there,
Preston Mayer, again, appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for it. We had Reggie in 95, 96, Woodson in 10 and 11. We need, quote, that guy, not saying we need to send 5 firsts for Garrett, but we simply don't have a player of his caliber. We saw we're a tier below Detroit Mini and Philly. Yeah,
it's a valid point, man. You had Reggie was that dude that he could play end, he could play 3, We've seen a lot of him out on the end. It was a different end. You didn't see those wide 9s back then, right? You seen the 5 tech, and of course he would just take an inside move on the tackle and then toss him into oblivion with that hump move. Charles Woodson, again with Charles Woodson, he wasn't that guy in free agency though. I remember that. I was working on a job site. We were pouring concrete around Warrior Path State Park in Kingsport, Tennessee. I'll never forget Kingsport, Tennessee. It was, we were out there on the grind every day doing an overhead pour, redoing a pump house, all kinds of stuff. And when I got the news they signed Charles Woodson, you know what my reaction was? He's a great college player, but what's he done in the pros? And that dude was the reason that defense become dominant, So it's a great point, Preston. It is.
Yeah, and I think it's true. That's why we're talking, Matt Crosby, Garrett. There's everyone's out there looking for that kind of filler. We're looking for that guy, but it doesn't have to be a defensive guy. That's the next question is it that guy could that guy be Tay? Is that guy a center that we needed? That's where I think I'm not sure. I would say it could definitely be an edge. But, what if Rashawn steps up and LVN tears it up and, Eningbari's ready to roll? Carl Brooks is, a 5th round pick like, Zach Tom and goes off. Like, we really don't know. But I do think that you're right. We need to find somebody that could bring that outside spark to the team.
Yeah. And right now, if you're going to get that guy in free agency, it's Khalil Mack. If you're not, then you're spot on, Preston, saying we need to go after Myles Garrett. That's that dude. That's I can't think of anyone else. So, yeah. All right. Appreciate that super chat there, Preston. And here, let's look at what we were talking about with Darius Alexander real quick. Notice the grades on the right. This is who they played this year, okay? So, UMass at home, he had a 64.1. I can't see these
Mississippi
names.
State.
Is that Mississippi State? So, at Mississippi State, not a powerhouse, right? 76.3. At Western Kentucky, an 80.3. Is that Maryland, maybe?
Miami of Ohio.
Even worse. Miami of Ohio, 73.7.
UB.
Who is that, baby? Talk to me.
Bulls up, man. UB. That's Khalil's. That's a stomping ground right there.
There you go. 77.7. All right.
At Northern Illinois University.
Is that who I'm thinking? Tony Romo's?
No, that was the guy that didn't they beat your Fighting Irish?
Why you got to bring up? They beat Notre Dame this year. I thank them for it because I really wonder if that's what kind of shook the cobwebs loose to go on that run that they did. Because boy, I remember I was in Abingdon, Virginia. Mandy was shot.
I texted you.
Yeah. I was going, Lord have mercy. Already down the tubes. We ended up playing a national championship. Bowling Green 75 at who's the either
Eastern Michigan.
At Eastern Michigan, 77.2.
Central Michigan,
80.6. Ohio, 73.8. Is that Army?
Akron,
81.5. And then Pitt, 88.2. Of those teams, who would you say is a powerhouse?
I'll pause.
You were waiting.
I Mississippi State would be your only shot, I would say.
I think so. Yeah.
If you're talking powerhouse, I mean, if you're talking in their division, I mean, Pitt would be a good one, right? But in their division, I'm not really sure. I think that it kind of flutters a lot. You got Bowling Green, you got Miami of Ohio, not bad. Central, you'd have to see.
Yeah. Pitt probably, I would imagine, is one of the better teams here on this list. But again, Quinyon Mitchell probably had a similar schedule that he played. Now, here's my thing. Is, again, Quinyon Mitchell was highly touted going into the season. Darius Alexander just kind of come out of nowhere all of a sudden, right? So that's what makes me a little weary. If the Packers took him with the 23rd pick, I wouldn't be going, oh, my God, what are we doing? I'd be going, hey, man.
Thick.
That too. They believe the hype is real, right? But if they don't go with him, and he falls to the 60s or 70s, that's going to be one of the draft night conversations is
right.
How far does Darius Alexander fall? Or better question, the more realistic question or accurate question is how far does he rise on boards, right? Where does a team actually see his value? I'm eager to see too where people have him now, like the overall consensus big board. If we go to that and we go to defensive line, let me drop this down. Let's just take a look because it's you already said it was 70-something, right? Is that right on the consensus big board, or was that PFF?
That was, I think that was PFF.
Was it? So he's considered an edge, right? Darius Alexander.
No, he's a D lineman.
Is he? I didn't see him there. Let's see if he pops up here. I could have overlooked him though. He might have been really low.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It was consensus that they had him at D-line.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, my bad.
Let's go D-line. Where is Darius Alexander now? You said,
right
71. So, and obviously this is his peak, right? He jumped 11 spots since the Senior Bowl. And listen, Jake wasn't saying he was a first-round pick. I don't want to put words in his mouth. He's just saying, hey, he could be that dude. Might be. And if you can get him at whatever pick, what would that be for us if we wanted to? If he truly is the 71st talent,
right? In between second and third.
Yeah,
our pick 3 is the pick. Our third round pick's 87.
So you'd have to take him in the second, or you'd have to fall to you in the third if we were just going strictly off the consensus big board.
Right.
So it's interesting, man, because again, you got a multitude of prospects that are like this.
But look at Deion Walker. He was peaked at 18. My man's dropped to 55th now.
Right. Yeah, that's a dude that's fascinating.
I mean, if Darius keeps climbing, Deion might slide right out of it. He might not. He might be in the 70 spot here shortly.
Could be. And again, what's going to happen, guys? We're going to get to the combine, and you're going to see guys jump and a couple guys fall, like because of the underwear Olympics. That's going to play a role there as well. So, yeah. 2-0 for this said Jake said he was Green Bay's Chris Jones. Chris Jones was a second rounder. There you go. Kind of line it up a little bit.
Pick 30. That's what I'm saying. I would honestly rather trade back, pick up an extra couple picks, then take those extra couple later picks, trade up and give me five picks in between second and 4. So second and 5th or something like that. Yeah, we could be the Bears this year. Give me 4 picks in good spots, and we are cooking.
And since you mentioned that, I'm going to put you on the spot, man. Let's go to Marco Enriquez's mock draft. This was by the Pro Football Network, his most recent mock draft. This was done on February 6th, as you can see up here at the top. All right. Here's who he had each team taken in the first round. Cam Ward 1, Abdul Carter 2, Shedeur Sanders 3, Travis Hunter 4, Mason Graham 5, Will Johnson 6, Will Campbell 7, Tetero McMillan 8, James Pierce Jr. 9th. Top 10 talent there. Ashton Gianti to the Bears. I hate that pick.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Could you imagine that, bro? Ashton Gianti in the Bears backfield would just piss me off. Malachi Starks to San Fran at 11. Shamar Stewart, you got edge defender going to Dallas at 12. Kelvin Banks, tackle, 13 to Miami. Josh Simmons, tackle, 14 to the Colts. Mikael Williams, 15 to the Falcons. He's an edge defender. Then you got Jalen Walker, who played linebacker. People are mentioning him more as an edge now than a linebacker. At the 16 spot going to Arizona. Then you got Mike Green going 17 to the Bengals. Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver, going to the Seattle Seahawks at 18. Nick Scourton, edge, 19 to the Bucks. Number 20, Tyler Warren, tight end, going to the Broncos. 21, Luther Burden, wide receiver, going to the Steelers. 22, Colston Loveland, out of Michigan, tight end, going to the Chargers. And then number 23, Emilio, Derek Harmon. Got the Packers taking Derek Harmon. Now, let me ask you this. You just got through saying, and I was nodding my head in agreement. Let's trade back. Let's take multiple swings, right? Multiple swings a little bit later in the draft, meaning later in the first, maybe an extra pick in the third, or maybe trade to where you got like 2 seconds and 3/3, get yourself in a position like that, right? If you did that and you pass up on Derek Harmon, what if Derek Harmon ends up popping as that next great 3-tech, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's I feel like that's the biggest problem. You never know what's going to happen. If it's me at pick 23, I'm taking our boy Armand Mimbu, and we are taking off.
Running that card in, huh?
Yeah, but you're right, man. What if he does tear it up, and what if he goes off? It's something we're gonna have to live with, right? But I do think that we need to attack. That's why it's either I'm down to try to move up and go get our boy Mason Graham and just call it a day, you know, or get up high enough and get Walter Nolan before he's gone or something like that. And if not, then yeah, I still think I would probably trade back into the second, pick up a couple extra picks, and try to take 4 or 5 shots in between 20 and 100.
Yeah. And so the conversation, if you guys are wondering why he said I'd take Mimbo over Derek Harmon, Mimbo is 15th on our board, top 15 prospect, right? And our boy
he
Derek,
can come inside the guard a lot. I mean, did you got to watch how quick his feet is, his set step. His just positioning. When dude sits down in his stance, can squat. I mean, he's got it all bend, sort of thing. So that's where I would be at. I'm telling you, we need to build that wall around Jay Love. I don't understand where we're not seeing that as a clear future, because then you're at the same time you're also protecting Jacobs back there.
Why can't I find Derek Harmon all of a sudden? Where's Derek Harmon on our board, man? Let me just search it here. He's
just heading out for a little
bit. Derek Harmon is 28th. So, like you were saying, if you were to take your boy, who was it you just mentioned? Mimbo, right? Derek Harmon's sitting in the 28 spot, and Mimbo's sitting in the 15 spot. But if you notice, Kenneth Grant, went 25th. Kenneth Grant on our board game is 10th. Mm-hmm. So let's look at what's the difference between Kenneth Grant and Derek Harmon, okay? Kenneth Grant, starting in 2022, 296, jumped to 48th, jumped to 29th. All right, that's PFF grades at their position. Same position. Derek Harmon was 654, jumped to 72, then jumped to 22. So you give the edge there to Kenneth Grant, right? The PFF big board, when we took the information down immediately following the college football season, had Kenneth Grant at the 18 spot. They had Derek Harmon at 83.
That's terrible.
Exactly. They had Kenneth Grant in the consensus big board at the end of the season, 21st. Derek Harmon was 26th, so a little bit closer. Mm-hmm. So Derek Harmon's overall grade for us is a 30.6. Of course, a low number wins. Kenneth Grant's a 17.6. I would much rather have Kenneth Grant than Derek Harmon. So in that situation, I would be pulling the trigger on if this fell perfectly into place, I'm running the card Kenneth Grant up to the podium, and I would not want to trade back. If Kenneth Grant was gone and Derek Harmon was the guy the best on the board for me, I would trade back a few spots if I could.
Yep.
To pick the winners there.
I think that's a great point. And that's where we're not going to know till that night, but you want to kind of work the board. I think that if it falls, what if they go for, what if everybody wants offensive players? What if they just go on a tear and there's 15 offensive guys taken in the first 20 picks? I think that's a possibility. And then you have your pick at the litter. So, I mean, you really don't know, but yeah, I think it's going to be tough kind of working that board. I do like the Kenneth Grant move. But my thing is if we want a 3-tech that we know that's going to be absolutely, if Mason Graham is a can't miss, quote unquote can't miss, will be 70 and higher PFF grade no matter what, 75 and up, dude's going to be absolutely elite. That's where I would be like, dude, if we're trying to if that's the one thing that we need and we need to spend a little capital to get up there to get that one player, and there's nobody in free agency. We did our digging. There's nobody in the, nobody we can take out the practice squad. Why not move up, pull the trigger, and that's our guy.
Right.
That's where
you're kind of taking that Preston approach. Preston mentioned, but you're doing it with the draft.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great point.
Makes sense. Eric Sutherland says, can Travis Glover play 3-tech? He'd be cheaper than Clark, and he can't be any less productive, so I'm on trading Clark. Man, Kenny.
Yeah, Glover can do it all, Eric. You know that, man. Hey, I mean, you put him in at a time of need, he's there for you.
The Kenny Clark situation was rough this year. Because, again.
Talking about it now.
It's a good point.
Until we bring it up, then it's going to be mainstream here in a week, and then we'll say that we started it.
And you can go back. The receipts are on the table for me the last 2 years going, I just don't see it with Kenny. I remember when I first mentioned it was because Ryan Schlipp mentioned it. Like, everybody talks like Kenny Clark is a dominant player. And he was a dominant player for 1 year. That was under Mike Pettin. And I went back and looked, and I'm going, he makes a good point. It's a great point. And ever since then, it's just been, damn, we're overpaying him, Right. And then last year, of course, the tape showed a lot of touch spy because they were setting the protection to double team him, and they were trying to chip Rashawn Gary. And then you get to a point where they're not double teaming Kenny, and he's still kind of playing touch spy, hovering in the middle. And that's not something that the coaches didn't say, Kenny, get after the quarterback, and he decided I'm going to play patty cake and kind of watch this A-gap.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that's by design. I don't know, it's just weird because that's your best, your best player, meaning your highest paid player. I understand the frustration, Eric. I really do, because that's a lot of money, man. That was, this year it don't look as bad. It's like 20-some million, right? But last year it was like, what, at 30 or right at 30 or something like that, if I remember correctly. So let me pull that up real quick and we'll get ready to get out of here. Let's see here. Let me just do a quick Google search. I want to see what his cap number was last year. He being Kenny Clark. Let's go Packers. Spot track. The 2024 table. Yeah, Kenny Clark's cap, it was $26.3 million is what it was. And everybody was so busy just absolutely bashing Rashawn Gary, who led the team in every important statistical category from a defensive line standpoint. His cap, it was only $11.1 million.
Right.
So that's I bet Kenny bought Rashawn Gary a gift or two this year. Boy, you kept him off my ass all year long. So
absolutely.
But a couple other players that are down here, and what you said about Kenneth or Mason Graham, let me say this. Mason Graham, guys, on our board, he is 4th on our board. All right. He is in that top tier of talent. If he scores a 9 RAS, a 9 or more RAS this offseason when it comes to the combine and the relative athletic score, he will go into the negatives. He has the ability to go into the negatives. Any player that's went in the negatives on our board since we started doing this has been a dominant player in the league. I feel comfortable saying it. Matter of fact, I've still got my 2024 board. Let's see who finished in the negatives last year. And we changed stuff up just a little bit, but I won't put it on the screen. Here's who we had as there was only 2 negative players last year, Emilio. Negative 2.7 were both the players. Joe Alt, tackle out of Notre Dame, and Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver out of Ohio State, both of which had a hell of a year, to the best of my knowledge. Joe Alt started every game. I believe he protected Justin Herbert's blind side, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Let's see what his PFF grade was. Maybe he didn't have as good a year.
No, I think they had him at right tackle, but still, yeah, he was absolutely tearing it up.
Let's go Joe Alt PFF. I want to see his grade because I didn't actually go look at his grade. I just kept hearing about how he was a great player. Yeah, as a rookie, 77.6. Yeah, dominant. Yep. Dominant, man. He was 23rd in offensive snaps played. He played 1,010 snaps, too. So, obviously had a great year. And then, of course, it kind of goes without saying, but you guys know Marvin Harrison Jr. dominated all year long. And people, oh, yeah, Clayton, there's nothing special there. I mean, my God, anybody could have predicted that. That's the point, is when the board goes negative, when you get players that go into that negative grade, they're dominant. Yeah, there you go. 77.7 for Marvin Harrison Jr. So, as a rookie, if you score 65 or higher, you're going to be a great football player. Unless you're Eric Stokes, you demolish your leg, and for some reason you forget how to play man coverage and track the ball. But, yeah, so those are the 2 players that were in the negative last year, and they ended up being great players. Let's go one more tier down. in the tier that's from 0.1 to 4.9 on our grade scale, right? Brock Bowers 1.6, dominant year. Fuaga, tackle out of Oregon State. I'm not sure how well he played. I'm sure he had a pretty good year. Rome Odunze. Listen, the Bears were a dumpster fire most of the year, but Rome Odunze has proven he's a great NFL player, in my opinion. He's going to be a great wide receiver. Caleb Williams at 3.7. Caleb Williams, that's one of those dudes that if he gets it mentally, he's got all the talent in the world. I just have my questions about this. And again, with this board, you guys remember me saying I would take Jaden Daniels. I would even take Drake May. I said I would even take – there was another quarterback, too, that I fell in love with at the last second. It was Bo Nix going to Denver. I wouldn't have taken Bo Nix over Caleb Williams, but Jaden Daniels, to me, it was pretty obvious. Look, I would rather roll the dice on Jaden Daniels than Caleb Williams. But Caleb Williams is one of those guys. And then Latu, I don't know how many snaps he ended up playing for the Colts. He was a 4 grade there.
I think he was pretty good.
Malik Neighbors was a 5. So he was technically in the next tier, but you would cluster those guys together, no doubt. Quinyon Mitchell down there at 8.6. So you're seeing anybody under 10. These are all Jaden Daniels 9.2. Anybody that's under 10, you can just about take it to the bank. They're a dominant player. So like you're saying, Emilio,
and with ours, that cuts off at Mason Graham. Like right. We don't have anybody under right now. Obviously, that still can change with RAS and all that once we get that score kind of added in. But currently, there's only 4 people that are under 10, and only 4 people that can get negative.
Right. No, you're right. That you're probably going to have. Yeah, you got. Yeah, just 3. Let's see how many you've got. Potentially 4 players that could go in the negative. And then you've got 3 more players that could go under 10. Well, actually, more than that with Greg Cosell. Because Greg Cosell is going to be a potential -5 as well. So,
so just my point to like moving up and pulling the, getting somebody that's inside of the top 10, inside the top 5. Can you name the year, Clayton, that we had our last pick in the top 5? Was actually the 5th pick. Can you name the year?
No, I can't.
You could probably name the player because you love him. 2006.
AJ Hawk.
2006, round 1, pick 5, AJ Hawk.
Yeah.
Was he a good player for the Packers?
I thought AJ Hawk was a great player. And I know I'm going to get roasted for it. I don't care. That dude, I'm telling you, he was the difference maker on that defense. He was.
Did he get us the Super Bowl?
Yes, he did. He was a team captain, too.
And 3 years later, 1 more pick in the first round. Can you tell me who that guy was?
3 years later, 1 more pick in the first round. That would have been – who would that have been? First round?
He's a little thick. He can sell really well as a D lineman, let me tell you.
B.J. Raji. The anchor of that
round 1, pick 9. Those 2 players inside the top 10, did they help you win that Super Bowl?
B.J. Raji said, y'all get the hell out of the way. I'm going to help y'all win a championship, and I'm going to sell off into the sunset.
That's all I'm asking. Is a top 10 pick going to win us a Super Bowl? After, A.J. Hawk, pick 5. Then we had pick 16. Clay Matthews, pick 26. All right, we got a good one there. B.J. Raji, pick 9. Then we went 23, 32, 28, 26, 21, 30, 27, 18, 21, 12, 26, 29, 28, 12, 13, and 25. When was the last time we picked in the top 10? B.J. Raji in 2009.
It almost feels like if you're not in the top 10, trade down or trade up.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Because again, look at the great players that we drafted in the second round. Jordy Nelson, right? Randall Cobb.
And I'm not saying we don't have great players that we've taken in the later first round. You've got, you got Jordan Love, Rashawn, Ja, Kenny, but in between there you have Darnell, Demarius Randall, Dante Jones, Nick Perry. Derek Sherrod. Like it's a hit or miss. I feel like the 2 times we were inside the top 10, we hit with those past 2, right?
Mm-hmm. Let's go Packers draft pick history. What time is it? How much time we got here?
We got 10 minutes.
We got 10 minutes. We got time for this. You kidding me? Let's walk back through memory lane here. This is going to be a fun little segment. Let's go back and look at the Packers draft picks and see where did we really hit at, guys? Where did we really hit at over the years? I apologize for the ads. There's nothing I can do. This is a Pro Football Reference. So let's start with the AJ Hawk here. Okay, let's do that. And you said that was what,
2009. Or I'm sorry, 2006.
2006 is when we took AJ. So let's start in 2005. First round, 24th pick, Aaron Rodgers. That was a late first rounder. But, boy, there was nobody on board with it, were they, at the time? Nick Collins at 51. There's a great second rounder, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to the next year. AJ Hawk with the 5th overall pick ended up playing how many seasons? They ain't showing us the stats. The fact that he's the all-time leading tackler in Packer history. He was a team captain all those years. He won a national championship with Ohio State, and then he went right in the NFL. He wins a Super Bowl, with the Packers. The thing I always appreciate about AJ Hawk is he would do the dirty work. He would be that dude in that 34 defense that he would go and stick his nose in the gap and free up space for other people to make the play. Like, he was not scared to do that. There was no patty cake, let me drop back. It was attack the line of scrimmage, take on guards, full steam ahead, especially when the power game was really, really big at that time. I also loved watching him go sideline. People were, he's slow. He looks slow. I watched him. I remember, I've told this story before, being this is before Twitter, on the message boards. Some of you kids don't know. There was a thing called message boards back. They probably still exist. But that was the way you got to talk ball with other Packer fans, right? Yep. PackersNews.com had a message board. And I remember people in there roasting AJ Hawk, and I'm like, why don't you like AJ Hawk? He's slow. He's too slow. And sure enough, I hit him with 2 or 3 clips. I showed them a clip of AJ Hawk coming from outside the left tackle. Adrian Peterson cuts it back across the field, and he ran Adrian Peterson down from behind. The dude ran a 4.5 40, if I remember correctly. Maybe a 4.4 40 at the combine. Unbelievable play.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, being the 5th overall pick, you're not going to get love. You expect that pick to be Hall of Fame worthy. You really do. And it's Packer Hall of Fame worthy, but that's it. Look at Greg Jennings here, pick 52. Solid pick in the second round, right? I know he kind of went off his rocker toward the end, but look at Johnny Jolly down there in the 6th spot, man. That was one of those dudes that, he was a huge asset for that team, and I know he got into some legal issues and stuff like that, but this one I remember the most. Justin Harrell upset a lot of people, Emilio. 16th overall pick out of Tennessee.
Who?
Brandon Jackson played a significant role, I feel like, in that champ, because he was on the roster, didn't he? I want to say I remember him scoring in the playoffs that year. I could be wrong. I know James Starks was kind of the feature back, your boy from right here, Buffalo. Yeah. So he played a big role. But, yeah, Brandon Jackson. There's James Jones in the 3rd round. Great value there. Desmond Bishop, man. I remember when he made the roster, when he knocked that dude out of his do-rag. Look at Mason Crosby, 6th-round pick. I think that was a pick well used. Here we go, 2008.
No first rounder.
Yeah. 3 seconds, a 3rd, 2 4ths, a 5th, and 2 7ths. That's my dream right there, man. 36th pick, Jordy Nelson. 2nd pick, that's what I was talking about. You had Aaron Rodgers on the roster as a starting quarterback, right? Brian Brom you took in the 2nd round.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. And maybe he wasn't the starter yet, but he was perceived to be the starter in waiting, and we still, spent a 2nd-round pick on a quarterback. Pat Lee in the 2nd round, then Jermichael Finley in the 3rd. That was a solid pick. Josh Sitton in the 4th. Something about those offensive linemen in the 4th round, man.
Yep. That
we just have always hit on. Here you go, 09, the 9th overall pick. So now this is our first top 10 pick, not named AJ Hawk, right? B.J. Raji, solid. Clay Matthews, we traded up for him. Remember that? So we traded up to 26 to get him. So that's a solid 1st-round pick. TJ Lang in the 4th round, solid pick.
So what, we probably gave up a 2nd and our 3rd to get up there to get Clay, you would think? Something like that?
Something like that, yeah. I remember Ted Thompson talking about that on the I can't remember the name of the documentary now, but it's the one that the Packers did. God, what's the name of it? I can't remember now. Anyway, he talked about it.
The Legacy documentary.
Yeah, Legacy. somebody in the front office came to him and said, "That's a lot to give up for him." Because he said, "I want the player," and they said, "That's a lot to give up." He said, "I want the player." I'm glad he did too. Clay Matthews was a monster, man.
Yep.
God, another again that fumble he forced in the Super Bowl, the Spillett pick at Spillett, man. All right, next year, Brian Bulaga. I think that was a good draft pick there at 23. Would you agree? He played for a long time, felt like.
Absolutely.
Mike Neal in the second round was good for a bit. Morgan Burnett, I think, was a decent player. There's your boy James Starks in the 6th round, man. He played it.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
Remember him? Wasn't he like 6'2" or something? He was an upright runner. He was a big boy. There's C.J. Wilson, who I was talking about playing the piano. There's your 7th round pick that played a big role in the culture of the team, just from that one story by Mike McCarthy. Derek Sherrod, remember when he mangled his leg? Remember that? I think they botched a surgery or something too, something crazy. But he was the 32nd pick. That ended up being a miss. Randall Cobb at 64, though, man. Solid.
Stomping ground too.
Yeah. Devon House, anybody else there? Not really. Lawrence Guy ended up going on to be a significant player for the Patriots after we let him go eventually. He was a 7th round pick. That's interesting. Here you go, 28th pick.
2024. Lawrence Guy played till 2024.
That's crazy, bro. He was the anchor of Bill Belichick's defense for several years after they got rid of the big name defensive tackles. Nick Perry at 28 ended up being a horrible pick, right? Jarrell Worthy in the 2nd round, we missed on that one. Casey Hayward, solid, right? We ended up letting walk in free agents. We didn't get to really capitalize on that pick. Mike Daniels was a solid player in the 4th round. But again, we're kind of looking for those late 1st round picks that are hits, man. They're few and far between, ain't they? We got more 2nd round hits than we do 1st round hits.
I think
Dayton Jones, 26 in the 26th overall pick in 2013. No. Eddie Lacy in the 2nd round. Yes, sir. Solid player, right? Bakhtiari in the 4th, solid player. J.C. Treader was a good player as well. He was in the 4th round. Micah Hyde in the 5th, kind of like the whole what's his name, Casey Hayward pick. We end up, letting him walk.
Moving him on. Yep. Tears it up.
All right, next year, HaHa Clinton Dix. Would you say that was a good pick?
I liked HaHa coming out. It didn't end up working out. I did. He came from Alabama. You expected a lot out of him. It just didn't end up working out. And nothing against him. It's just wasn't long term. He wasn't an X.
Yeah. Yeah, I would call that a miss, to be honest with you. Never did I ever feel like, hey, we got one of the best safeties in the league.
Right.
Good dude. I think he's in law enforcement now, right? That was something he wanted to do after his football playing days. Here's Devontae Adams. I'll tell you, after year 2, there were fans calling to cut him just like they were Tay Wicks. Dude obviously went on to be a phenomenal player. He was a 2nd round pick, right? Yeah, 2nd round, 53 overall. Man, some of these names are bringing back memories. Look at Corey Linsley in the 5th round, bro.
Dog.
Solid there.
Might as well just only take O lineman in the 5th.
Right, yeah. Demarius Randall with 30th overall pick. Need to rinse my mouth out. Let me get a drink on that one. Lord have mercy. Quentin Rollins too, right? And then 2nd round, that's kind of a miss. Ty Montgomery. I think that's a miss in the 3rd round too. We expected him to be kind of that hybrid, that Percy Harvin type player, wide receiver.
Didn't work out. Man, Percy Harvin, what a guy. He was tearing it up for like 2 years.
Yeah, Aaron Ripkowski, when we drafted him at fullback, I'm like, let's go. That's a football name, by God.
It drafted a fullback.
All right, think about that. You know how
10 years ago we drafted a fullback.
Twinner would blow up. When we had Mike McCarthy's spread offense, but we ran full house, remember?
I love that full house. I still use that. That's in the playbook with the 2 tight end, Clay, and the motion. You get the tight end motion.
Get the
pistol, the little pistol, little read option. Okay.
Oh, man. All right, here we go. 2016, Kenny Clark, 27th overall pick. I don't want to say that was a bad pick. I don't. Because I think Kenny's been a good player.
I wouldn't. He's given us 140 games played.
It's a lot of games.
That's a lot
and
of
he's
games.
always healthy, right? He's always healthy. It's just I would have moved on. I wouldn't have signed him to that extension, man. Jason Spriggs, no. Kyler Fackrell, no. Blake Martinez, is he out of jail yet? Did he get in trouble or something for Pokemon or something?
Pokemon cards or Pokemon Go or something.
They're dealing it, son.
Yeah.
Dealing it. Allegedly. Dean Lowry.
Trash can full of dirt, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, here we go. 2017. This is going to piss some people off. We had 2 second-rounders. Cornerback Kevin King, swing and a miss.
He's cutting it up now.
I was excited about Josh Jones, man. I was excited about Josh Jones, bro. He was a hard-hitting safety. I was fired up.
And you said, here's another ha-ha.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Montravius Adams had a lot of high hopes for him. Didn't work out. But look down here, boys. Aaron Jones in the 5th round. Absolutely.
And Jamal Williams. We took Jamal Williams and Aaron in the same draft. That's
Poor
right.
Aaron. Yep. It was fun watching them in the backfield together for a while. Then you got Jair Alexander in 2018. I think that was a good pick. I mean, Ja's been a great player. I've seen it like he's gone now. Yeah, Ja was good for us, but hopefully he plays every game and he returns this year. So there was a hit in the 1st round. Josh Jackson in the 2nd. What's crazy is I thought Josh Jackson was a better player than Jair coming into the draft, and Josh Jackson ended up doing nothing, right?
Yep.
Nothing. Oren Burks, I don't even want to mention his name, seeing that he forced that fumble. MVS, Equinemius St. Brown. We got the wrong St. Brown, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just the 1st rounder, but we missed on the 2nd. So there are some misses in the 2nd round, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. So I'm saying sometimes, I mean, maybe if you don't like the second, if you don't like where you're landing in the 2nd, maybe you use that to get up, and then you say, all right, use the 7th and the 6th to get back into the 3rd, and you're out of there.
Yeah. Yeah. 2019, Rashawn Gary with the 12th overall pick. I think it was a great pick. That's me. I'm probably in a minority with that, but Darnell Savage was another 1st round. So we had 2 firsts that year. Darnell Savage, swing and a miss there. We got 1 good year out of him, if I remember correctly.
You look at it like overview overall. Looking at 2018 and then 2019, I think 2018 was this past year's draft where we had a bunch of shots, a bunch of picks. We took a bunch of shots. I think this year we're gonna shrink this year's draft. Either number wise or pick wise. I just don't see them. How are we gonna keep everybody on the team? You know what I mean?
I don't want to put words in your mouth. Are you team trade up this year?
It's looking more like it. I'm not saying that, but I'm not putting my foot down. But it's a possibility.
I like it, man. Hey, I like it one way or the other. Go up and get one of those top tier guys, or trade back
up. Right? Yeah, right. I hate being in no man's land.
Right, and that's kind of where we're at, no doubt about it. Especially with what DJ said, is the sweet spot is like from 20 to 60, everybody's the same. So you can look at that and go, okay, there's great talent between 20 and 60. Yes, but above that, there's better talent above the 20 mark, and we're sitting at 23. So it's like you're missing out on that upper tier talent. Elton Jenkins in the 2nd, absolute home run in my opinion. Let's see, anybody else there? Not really, right? Moving along, Jordan Love, definite hit for me. You're calling that a hit, right? Jordan Love, obviously.
Absolutely.
Right, 1st round pick. So that was 26. Again, quarterback is no problem for us late in the 1st. Like, yeah, we'll just go get us another franchise quarterback. 2nd rounder, A.J. Dillon, man. And that's a dude, if I remember correctly, his RAS was good. Like, to be a bigger back, he was quick. Did he run a 4.4? Am I thinking right? 4.4.
Yeah, his RAS was John Deere Green for sure.
Yeah. And obviously a miss there. I remember Josiah DeGuara. There was people that cover the Packers, local media, that said Josiah DeGuara was Matt LaFleur's pick. Like, he specifically, because a friend he had that was a coach at Cincinnati was like, hey, this is the guy. This is my use check. Boy, did he miss. I bet Goody said, don't you ever take another pick.
Now Goody's probably sitting there like, you really got that 3rd round curse out there, Matt. You really were the one that said that. Yeah.
And they're blaming me. They're blaming me for what you did. Kamal Martin, John Runyon Jr., Jake Hansen, nobody really there. Moving on to 2021, Eric Stokes in the 1st round, swing and a miss. Josh Myers in the 2nd round, swing and a miss. Amari Rogers in the 3rd round, swing and a miss. Royce Newman in the 4th round, swing and a miss. TJ Slayton for a 5th rounder, I think that's a hit. They just need to put his ass on the football field. Shamar Jean Charles missed, but we get that late in the draft. I think McDuffie's a hit for what we've gotten out of him. Been a solid special teams player in the 6th round pick. So anything you want to add there to those?
No,
you disagree with any of those?
It's tough. No, I don't. That's the problem. Like, you're looking at that draft, you got 1, 2. I mean, it's some drafts you have 10 people that are staying on that team that are going to tear it up, and but sometimes you get 1 hit. Like, I just, if this draft is going to be one of those 1 or 2 hit drafts, I would rather it be on Premier Talent up top or 2 or 3 picks right in the middle, two second and third round.
God, I hope this isn't completely true, Fred. Fred said we picked Myers and Amari Rogers and could have had Creed Humphrey and the Sun God, talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Is that true? Did we really take Josh Myers over Amon-Ra St. Brown? Or not? Or no, Eric? Yeah, I guess we did, right? You take Eric Stokes?
Amari, yep.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Golly, boy, that's a tough draft. That one right there is a boy, oh boy. You can't.
Yeah, if you're asking if Preston was asking us about a fireable offense draft, I think 2021 would be your best year if you're saying, hey, here's my evidence to fireable offense for Goody. I think 2021 would be that draft.
Amon-Ra St. Brown went in the 4th round. That is wild. Absolutely wild. All right, next one, Quay Walker, hit or miss, Emilio. Tim ain't here. We can be honest about this. Is Quay Walker a hit or a miss to you? Be honest with me. You may disagree with me.
I'm still gonna say he's a hit. I'm gonna give him one more year.
All right, Devontae Wyatt, hit or miss?
He's a hit still. If Quay's a hit, Devontae's a hit.
You get a hit and you get a hit. All right, Christian Watson in the second.
You get a hit, Christian, definitely. Sean Ryan, I would say no.
Hey, see, and that's where I think I differed based off last year,
Yeah, but
again, third rounder, yeah. Before that, you're right.
I mean, he didn't do anything. We were yelling at him to stay in shape.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Romeo
Dobbs in the 4th, that's a hit, right?
Zach Tom, hit.
Zach Tom, ever heard of him? Solid pick, man. 4th round, might be a Hall of Fame player, man.
Yeah.
So Goody's like, get off my back, guys. Jeez, we'll find you a Hall of Famer in the 4th round. Kingsley Enagbare, I think, been a hit based off
of for a 5th rounder.
Tariq Carpenter, yeah. Jonathan Ford, yeah.
Rasheed
Walker,
hit.
Yeah, hit. Definitely a hit there. Samori Toure, man, it feels like it's been 2 lifetimes since we've had Samori Toure on the roster. That's wild.
We were fighting for him to stay there, and I mean, that's wild.
Yeah. So for me, I'm saying Quay Walker isn't a hit. That's me personally. 22nd pick overall. For it to be a hit, you can't justify. If you could do it over, would you draft Quay again or would you trade down in the draft? I would much rather have traded down and picked up multiple picks. That's just me. Devontae Wyatt, I can see that one because he is our best interior pass rusher. Is he worth a 28th pick? Probably not. But
and looking back on it, when we took Quay, where was he on everybody's board?
Where was what now?
Where was Quay when we took him? 70, 60, 70?
Yeah, I don't have it saved, but he was way down there.
So that's another thing we got to keep in mind. That's another thing we got to keep in mind this draft.
Why did it happen? It happened because he was that right before the draft, he's soaring up the boards. I'm telling you. Jalen Walker, right? Is that his name this year? Jalen?
Yeah, from Georgia, the linebacker that plays edge. Yep.
This feels just like Quay because people won't admit it, but at the time of Quay, they were going, yeah, he could rush off the edge too. He was that tweener dude. I'm telling you, man. And when they took him, I'll never forget. They took Quay Walker. And I was like, who the hell? Everybody was like, of course, Goody took a linebacker. Of course, he took a guy nobody knows about. I walked downstairs to refill the drink. Mandy said, who we take? I said, Quay Walker. She said, the country singer? She was meaning like it's Clay Walker. No, it's Quay Walker. I just shut up. I'm mad about it. I'm gonna go back upstairs and put on a smile for the stream. Again, I don't think it's a hit, me personally. I like the idea of placing value on a guy you're going to put in the middle of your defense at mock. Don't get me wrong, but it just hasn't worked out. But yeah, he's one of those dudes, athletic freak. But think of Quay Walker and think of someone like Jay Higgins, right? His PFF off the chart. Yeah. Looks like a solid football player, but he's not going to measure as well as someone like Quay Walker. So 2023, we'll wrap it up real quick here. LVN, hit or miss so far. Still, I don't like to say hit or miss on these guys because it's still early. So
that's where I'm at. That's where I'm walking the line with Quay. 2022, I think as you're coming into this, that's where you're walking the line. But yeah, you're right. No, you're right. You're totally right. LVN, I'm still happy with the pick. I guess I'm happy with the pick. LVN, Luke, Jaden, Tucker, Colby.
That's looking like a solid draft.
Yeah, it's looking like a solid draft. We're still a little out on Colby. Obviously, he's been turning it up, just doesn't get a lot of burn. Sean Clifford has been a great big red dog for the third quarterback. And we got Tay Wicks, right? Carl Brooks, dog. Anders Carlson, miss. Carrington Valentine, turning it up.
Solid, man.
We got, who's that? A running back, right?
Lou Nichols, man. I forgot about him. He didn't even get out of camp, though. I think he got an injury settlement or something.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Johnson and
AJJ, that was your boy. Or no, that was Tim's boy.
That's Tim's guy, yeah. Don't you put that on me, Richard Bobby. No, but the thing about Anthony Johnson Jr. is a lot of people that I trust in the draft community were like, man, this dude can play top-down safety. He's going to be a solid addition for that Fangio-style defense. So,
absolutely.
But, yeah, I mean, you got, in my opinion there, LVN with that, about to crack 12% pressure rate. I'm telling you, I think a full camp, him being the dude at edge, if we don't go get Khalil Mack or someone, I think you're going to see him pop next year. He's going to take the next step. Depending on how they rush the quarterback, if they play more of a contained rush, don't be surprised if the numbers are down again. The run defense is good, and we're hovering around a top 10 defense. But Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft both hits, obviously. So Tay Wicks, I think, is a hit for the 5th round. That's just me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look how many games played. Look how many games played are on that year's team. You know what I mean? Like Sean Clifford's the only one without 20-plus games.
That's a great point, man. You guys, yeah.
Like, that's a lot of playing time from last year or 2 years ago draft.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's see here. And then, of course, this year, Jordan Morgan in the 1st round, Edgerrin Cooper, just a damn dog, dude. Javon Bullard, I know many people were down on him, but to me, he showed promise in the slot. I think he's going to be a good slot defender. He might not be great. What's that?
Jake, I said, not me. We got to stop cutting on our man bull. Everybody wanted him gone after this. Everyone wasn't happy with his coverage. I mean, give him a second. He's played safety and corner all year. Like,
bounce back and forth during the year. Yeah. Marshawn Lloyd, we'll see. Tyron Hopper, we'll see. Evan Williams, dog already, right? Mm-hmm. Katano Ladapo, man, that's one. I'm telling you, don't be surprised if he competes for that safety spot this year. I'm telling you, man, don't be surprised if we hear in camp Katano Ladapo's giving Evan Williams a run for his money, because he looked promising when he finally got healthy. He really did. Mm-hmm. My boy Michael Pratt, moment of silence for Michael Pratt. He's the one who got our channel banned too, by the way.
He really did.
He didn't. His video did.
Yeah.
So, and then Kalen King, we'll see. Right. So there you go. Hey, listen, it's fun to kind of walk back in history and see. Let's just do one random scroll and just stop it anywhere. Bang. 1978. Look at that. Hall of Famer James Lofton in the 1st round. Come on. Depot music for James Lofton.
Because it's a Hall of Famer, man.
This show's
where they got more done.
No, you're not coming back from that. We're out of here.
And we go. We're out.
We're out. Bye, guys.